talk about Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys. This team is in a very weird situation. They are still a very good football team. They face a lot of problems. I want to start off with the offense. They have now lost back-to-back games. They lost against the Buffalo Bills a week ago, and now they just lost against the Miami Dolphins in a tough fashion. The kicker basically beat them in this game. The defense was up and down. They could not stop the run towards the end of the game. Their offense is too Dak Prescott dependent. And Mike McCarthy basically came out and told Jerry Jones, hey, I'm going to call plays. Let me take the playbook. We're going to try to run the football more on the balanced attack. Survey says that was a lie because this offense looks similar to how it looked last season when Kellen Moore was calling plays. Is Dak Prescott more efficient? Yes. Are the interception numbers down? Yes, they are. Dak Prescott has been amazing this season. I don't want to hear any Dak Prescott slander because if he doesn't go out there and he's not Superman for this offense, they're not going to score points. He has to get the football out to CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Cooks over and over again because their run game is not consistent. Tony Pollard is a good running back, but he's not a good running back when you need 2 to 3 yards in physical contact. And we saw that against the Miami Dolphins. It was 2 times on the goal line to where they cannot push the ball in because he doesn't have that extra weight on him. If you had a guy like Ezekiel Elliott who could pack in that punch and could dip that shoulder down and run over a defender or just move forward, you could get those extra yardage. You could be in a better situation. Now you see the Dallas Cowboys, instead of running the football on 3rd and 2 and 3rd and 3, they're throwing the football to CeeDee Lamb. They're throwing the football to Brandon Cooks. And thankfully, Dak Prescott hasn't thrown them any interceptions this season. But you look at the games that they have won against teams with above a 500 record. Dak Prescott has to be Superman. Look at what happened a couple weeks ago when they faced the Seattle Seahawks. He had to go out there and basically carry them against that team. When they went against the Philadelphia Eagles, Dak Prescott had a day in that game. They're going to have to go out there and find a better way to try to run the football with the running backs that they have on the roster. They could desperately use a power back right now, but we're only 2 more games left in this season. You're not just going to go out in free agency and just get a running back that can just come in, learn the playbook, get some things going immediately. That's over with. And I do believe the Dallas Cowboys are confident with Tony Pollard. Like I said before, he's not a bad running back. He's a very good utility back. But he is best when he can bounce off another power back like how he was last season when it was him and Ezekiel Elliott. He could be a very good lightning to another guy's thunder. And right now, that's not working out in their backfield. And I do want to talk about the offensive line as well. It's not the same. Zach Martin does not look like the guard that he has been for the last couple years with this team. He has been one of the most dominant guards in the NFL, and he is still good, but he does not have that same impact that he once had on this offensive line. Dak Prescott got sacked 4 times against the Miami Dolphins, and he was not running himself into sacks. If he was not able to run around as much in that game, he would have easily gotten sacked 8 to 10 times in that game. This offensive line has not looked good against elite level competition. They didn't look particularly well against the Buffalo Bills, and they looked horrible in that first game against the Philadelphia Eagles. And I'm looking at Terrence Steele as well. This is a guy that suffered a torn ACL a while ago. He has not been able to stay out there with the quicker defensive ends. He's been getting beat a lot off of finesse moves. He has to be better and seal that edge for Dak Prescott. And Tyron Smith at that tackle position, we have seen it over the last couple of years. Injuries have gotten him, and he is not the same tackle either. This is not a horrible offensive line, but they're not one of those top units that they once were years ago. When you first had Ezekiel Elliott and Dak Prescott get onto the scene and bust into the scene. And I'm worried about that as this team is continuing to make that playoff push. They're going to go to the playoffs regardless, and they're going to be in the wild card. But this is a team that can still go out there and they can still win this division. The next 2 games are very pivotal for the Dallas Cowboys because they want to get that game at home. They need to clinch this division. The Dallas Cowboys are a very good home team. When they go away, they are a completely different team. They're still good, but they're not the same team to go out there and put up 30 to 40 points like how they put that up in AT&T Stadium. And that's what I'm worried about. And it's not a Dak Prescott problem. It's a Mike McCarthy problem with the play calling and the fact that they don't have that run game, that offensive line set with this team. And the bad thing about this is usually teams that can run the football and have a solid to very good offensive line with protection up front, those are teams that make a deep playoff run, because the Dallas Cowboys are not a team with the expectations just go out there and win one playoff game. No, Jerry Jones went out and acquired Brandon Cooks. He went out and he traded for Stephon Gilmore as well. He traded for those two guys to get them over the hump. And right now, they look like how they looked last season, which is not a recipe for wins with this team in the playoffs. They have been very good in the regular season. Let's hope that this team did not peak in the regular season. And their defense, it has been very solid this season. Even without Trevon Diggs, Stephon Gilmore has a lot left in the tank, and Deron Bland is going to be a star corner with this team. Yes, he did have that one bad game against DK Metcalf, but he has looked very good. He's a pick-6 monster. And sometimes a quarterback doesn't even want to target him that much, because they know if he intercepts the ball, it's a pretty good chance he's going to take it to the house and he's going to find a running lane to get to the house. I'm worried about their run defense. Like I mentioned before, this is 2 weeks back-to-back on the road. They could not stop James Cook, and they had a tough time stopping Raheem Mostert in that run game of the Miami Dolphins. DeMarcus Lawrence is a very good run stopper. But when they put two bodies on Micah Parsons and they phase him out the way, this defense does not look the same. They can't get to the quarterback with Micah Parsons. Isn't that dominant pass rusher for this team? They don't have another option. And they also miss a lot of tackles in space as well the last 2 weeks, because they miss Leighton Vander Esch a lot right now. And that is a guy that's a huge linebacker for this team. A lot of people may pick on him and say that he's overrated, but the one thing about Leighton Vander Esch, he can wrap up in space and he can guard running backs at the backfield. They don't have that linebacker right now. You do have that in Micah Parsons because he can play all over the field, but he's just one guy. And the San Francisco 49ers basically exposed the Dallas Cowboys a couple months ago. I understand that was a different Dallas Cowboys team, but when you phase out Micah Parsons, this is a completely different defense up front, that front seven. It changes the entire dynamic of that front seven. Now, a lot of calls did not go towards the Dallas Cowboys and the Miami Dolphins game. I will say that it was a horrible penalty that did not get called for this team, to where the linebacker basically got tackled by the offensive lineman. He got him by his pads and he shoved him into the ground. That should have been a flag, but they did not call it. But the Dallas Cowboys also did beat themselves. They had numerous chances to go down there and score touchdowns. They came away with field goals. A lot of it is because they didn't have that extra push up front. Their lack of a run game at times definitely hurt them, because you look at Tony Pollard. He went a long time and on a long dry spell before he had another rushing touchdown, when he had those 2 rushing touchdowns against the New York Giants. He went a long time before he was able to get another rushing touchdown, and he may have over 1,000 yards from scrimmage. But that run game is not where it needs to be for the Dallas Cowboys right now, as a team that has long playoff aspirations and has aspirations of getting to the Super Bowl. Because this right here, this could have been the Dallas Cowboys year, and it still can be. I'm not 100% counting this team out, because you have a star quarterback that is still the MVP candidate. You have a head coach that can call some very good passing plays. I'm just worried about the offensive line and the health of the offensive line, because if Tyron Smith continues to get injured and if he misses a playoff game or two, this team's going to be in deep trouble up front. Then it changes the whole dynamic. You can't just have those same long developing routes down the field that are crushing teams when you're at AT&T Stadium with guys like CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Cooks. And by the way, CeeDee Lamb has fit into that number 1 wide receiving role very good. They have a star in that kid. And Brandon Cooks, in the last couple months, he stepped up as well, and he looks like he is that true number 2 option alongside him as well. And Michael Gallup is a solid number 3 wide receiver for this team. Jalen Tolbert can make some big plays as well. I'm worried about this team, but I do believe they can go out there and still win a playoff game. It's just when they go against teams like the San Francisco 49ers, that is when I get very concerned, because that's not the expectation for the Dallas Cowboys this year. The expectation was to get to the NFC Championship and possibly get to the Super Bowl. And the way that the offense is looking right now, I don't know if that can happen. But let me know in the comment section below how you feel about the Dallas Cowboys. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. Most importantly, each and every last one, guys, stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for watching the video, guys. Peace.